Hey guys, this is Carson here today with Jerry, and what we're going to do is show you a little bit of some of my favorite movements in the gym. And these are pretty simple. You can pretty much do them anywhere. And I'm just kind of going to run through one routine that I might have in any given week. So I always like to start out with a run, 5 minutes. Also jump rope if that's available, or even Jacob's ladder, the spin bike, something just to kind of get the system moving. And then from there, I'll move into some sort of back extensor and core activation stuff to kind of get everything primed for the heavy lifts. It sets sort of this foundation of fitness and this foundation of durability that you can use throughout the whole season. I'll put my stuff with you. Oh, clapped. First things first, I like to do some things that heat up the back, heat up those extensor muscles, heat up the core, and get the legs also firing. My warm-up takes probably half the time at least that I'm in the gym. What I'm gonna do is pick a 6 to 15 basically light pound medicine ball. And what this is gonna do, we're gonna do with this, is we're gonna do a lunge, and then you're gonna just extend the arms and basically rotate that core and get everything kind of firing for that system. So for example, lunge with my left leg, extend it, rotate, think about keeping the core stable. All right, after you knock out about a set of those, I'm gonna go to the Swiss ball, and then we're gonna get that and do a little bit of core activation, kind of like some plank variations, get things moving as well. Under, keep that plank. And you can do a variation, but roll it up, tuck the core in, back to plank. You can even add a press. Just coming back to another warm-up set for the legs, the back with the kettlebell. Just keep everything stable. It's not really any arm motion at all. It's when you come down, you're engaging the core, tucking it under, and then kind of hip thrusting like you would at the top of a deadlift. And so this is another thing just to get everything sort of moving. Doesn't have to be super heavy, but think about keeping that core tight. Just keep everything stable like a plank. Roll it out. Tuck it back in, and think about using your core instead of your arms. Some other things you can do with pretty much only any gym is you can use like a 5-pound weight like this, and these are some other things I'm going to mix in basically throughout the workout while I'm in a rest period. You basically get into a side plank like a 5. You don't even have to use a weight. Think about wrapping, twisting, keep the core in your keep your hips up, and then wrap it back under, and that'll get you those obliques. Just use this or even a dumbbell and do pull throughs. Basically you're pulling opposite across, keeping everything stable, and trying not to move or dip your hips. And you can either pick it up like so or drag it. What I'm going to do next is one of my first leg exercises I like to keep as a staple in my workout, and basically they're just step ups. You can use a bench, you can use a small box, whatever you need. But what you're looking at is just isolating one leg. Don't use anything too heavy, but get that stable leg. Isolate it and think about driving up through your glute. This is one thing that cyclists really need to work on, is activation of that glute. Drive up, come down. You can either tap or just plant. Another single leg isolating movement you can do is Bulgarian split squats. I'm sure you've heard of these. Same thing, need a bench, about the same weight. Get your toe up there. Spread the leg a little farther than you expect. And what you're looking for here is that same glute and hamstring work. Keep your weights down here at the bottom. Again, use something light or anything at all as you're first starting. And drive that first leg up. Touch the knee if you can. After a few sets of those, get rid of those, and I'll move on to basically a standard lift. And that could be a combination of either a back squat, trap bar deadlift, straight bar deadlift, or if you don't have those equipment, the leg press is another alternative. So for the standard, double leg press. Get them about shoulder width parallel. Make sure this angle is not too harsh. You want it at a 90 or probably greater. And just focus on basically driving forward like you would a back squat. Put in a little bit towards the center, and then same thing, drive forward with one leg. So you can combine both of these. Next are some deadlift variations, and what I like to use to give an example of this is dumbbells, because you can pretty much find those anywhere. Obviously a straight bar is going to be good, but for a single standard double leg deadlift, one way I like to take some stress off the back is get a pretty heavy dumbbell, and I like to hold it kind of by the end, get the legs parallel, pointed out a little bit, and then remember, just keep the legs kind of drove back, push your knees back, focus on good form, and you can pretty much perform the same standard deadlift motion. Think about driving the hips forward. Another variation is you can pick up a lighter weight and do the single leg deadlift, which is one of my favorites. It's an isolating single leg motion. So get a smaller weight, get balanced on sort of the ball, that 1 foot heel. And then same thing here, but you're doing it with one leg, slow and controlled. Let that leg flow back. And think about isolating this one leg and a deadlift motion. Well, those are some of the main leg movers I'll do. Like I said at the beginning, I'll mix in a lot of the core I showed you, as well as some of these upper body movements in between the sets, just to kind of rest, but also focus on shoulder stability and some of those important things for mountain biking. So the first thing I'll do a lot of the time is take decently good dumbbell weight, and I typically get on that lunge motion, get on one knee. And with the opposite arm, I just focus on keeping everything stable and driving up like a press. Really working on back strength, shoulder strength, getting everything kind of pulled up to that posture that we need is important. So again, typically standard pull-up, but I like to do wide grip and just focus on that form as if you were on the mountain bike, so where your hands are going to be. So typically I'll combine some days with pull motions mostly, like pull-ups or rows, with pushing days, so like push-ups and shoulder presses. So for rows, this is another good thing for cyclists, because if you think about it, we're always pulling in this motion on the bike. And you can do this over a bench with one arm, or I like to stand stable with feet shoulder width apart, and do both at the same time. And just think about using your sort of driving your scapula back, get some bend in the legs, decent weight, and just think about really driving back. Done a lot, but not all of this has to be included into one workout. This is just a lot of what I mix in. So to summarize, I typically 15-20 minute warm up combined with some of those dynamic movements, some core, get everything worked. Then I move into both single and double leg movements. And then in between sets, I showed you some of the core I'll mix in, as well as upper body. And so, find what works for you, find the right weight, and just be patient with the process. Other than that, I'll typically stretch just a little bit after each session, bring my foam roller, whatever I can do, and just do a little 5-minute stretch and roll on any issues. But yeah, other than that, that's a typical gym workout with some standard stuff I do. And stay tuned for any information and reach out.